Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to be doing some maintenance. We'll see if we can take a knife that's not very sharp, just like this one, and turn that around.
What are you talking about, Ro? See, it's cutting the paper.
No. See how it tears through the paper rather than cutting it? Yeah, that's not sharp roll, thank you. Or rather, this will be my first attempt at applying my theoretical knowledge of sharpening a knife on these. These are Japanese whetstones. One of them is 1000 grit and it's meant for sharpening, and the other one is 6000 and it's meant for polishing. You can also get this combination in one stone, where it's 1000 on one side and 6000 on the other side, but I got the option to get them separately, so I did. In theory, I should know how to use these, but we'll see how it goes. Now, before we can start using these, we have to soak them in water, and I'm gonna do that one at a time. I'll start with the 1000 grit, and I'll soak that for at least 15-20 minutes. Now, after I've done that already, I can tell you it needed a lot more than 15-20 minutes. So if you're doing that yourself, give it at least an hour. See how it's bubbling up as it's taking in the water? Well, you basically know when it's ready when it stops bubbling. The polishing stone I found needs a lot less soaking. It's almost what they call splash and go. So about 5 minutes will probably do it. Oh, and if anybody knows Japanese, I'd really appreciate it if you let me know what this means. And also this one. I don't know, maybe I'm doing this all wrong. Now, since this is sort of a test, I'm not gonna use one of my nicer knives. Instead, I'm gonna use my trusty old workhorse. This is an IKEA knife that's $15-ish, but it served me very well. I've had it for about 10 years, and as long as you give it a little bit of love every now and then, it'll do the job just fine. To place your stones on, you can get what's called a bridge. Or if you're just starting out, like I am, you can use a damp towel. Before I started sharpening, I put in the polishing stone to soak as well. The first thing I know I should be doing, and I think it's on the box as well, is I know I have to have the knife at a 45-degree angle. Not at 90 like this, perpendicular to the stone, but 45. And then raise the knife slightly so that you feel the edge flush with the stone. Now make sure you don't raise it too much, because you're gonna turn the bevel of the knife, or the cutting edge, into what's called a false bevel. If the stone dries out, just give it a little splash of water. Then apply some pressure with a couple of fingers, and starting from the tip, move back and forth, trying to go over the whole length of the stone. On this side of the knife, you're gonna want to apply the pressure while pulling towards you, and then release the pressure as you're sliding it away from you. And again, starting from the tip of the knife, you're gonna want to do a few passes, then move your fingers slightly down, and then do a few passes on that part of the blade. As you start getting close to the heel of the knife, you're gonna notice that if you continue holding the knife at a 45-degree angle, the bolster is gonna hit the stone. So just straighten out the blade and continue sharpening the heel of the knife like that. Keep going over the same side of the knife until you can feel a burr forming. And that's basically the side of the bevel that we're sharpening folding over the other. Once you can feel that rough edge, flip the knife over and start sharpening the other side. This time we're gonna apply the pressure while sliding the knife away and releasing it when pulling towards us. Give that side a few passes as well, and we're ready for the polishing stone. As I mentioned earlier, that stone didn't need nearly as much soaking, so by the time I was done sharpening, it was completely saturated. I started polishing, but as you can see, this stone is a lot thinner than the other one, so I figured I can use the chopping board and put that under the towel to raise the stone off the counter. Then give it a little splash of water if needed, and keep going over each side just like we did with the sharpening stone. By the way, you're gonna see this metal slurry forming on top of the stone. Don't wash it off, this is what's gonna polish and sharpen your knife. And a little safety tip, make sure that the fingers applying pressure are over the stone. These are basically guillotines on each side of the stone, so if you slip, a digit goes bye-bye. Lastly, do a couple of passes of the entire length of the blade. Once I thought I was done, I rinsed and I patted dry the stones. Don't know if that's what I should have done, but that's what felt right to do. I'm sure this was not the greatest sharpening, but for a first attempt, I think it went pretty good. Now let's see how I've done and put the knife to the paper test again. Yep, that's sharp. So there you have it. It's actually pretty easy and enjoyable, so get yourself a nice stone and give your knife a little love. roll out.